Hey everyone, and welcome back. You're tuning in to a highly anticipated edition of our Explainer series. Today, we're unpacking the official Polymer Bazaar EVA weekly report for the first week of August 2026. Look, if you're tracking global polymer movements, looking for future trends, or just trying to figure out exactly when to pull the trigger on your next big material purchase, you are absolutely in the right place. We've got a lot of crucial ground to cover today, so we're going to jump straight into the data and break down exactly what these market shifts mean for you.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're leaning entirely on the trusted intelligence from Polymer Bazaar today. The industry's gold standard for price, prediction, and profit. We're going to take some complex, incredibly fast-moving international data and turn it into a clear, actionable strategy. That way, you can navigate this week's bazaar with complete confidence.
Here's our roadmap for today. First up, our global market overview. Then we'll look at the Western market divide, followed by China's supply dynamics and India's volatile market. Then we'll cover market tools and predictions and wrap it all up with our final purchase recommendation. Section 1, Global Market Overview, Mixed Regional Dynamics. Section 2, the Western Market Divide, U.S. tightness versus European weakness. Right now, the global EVA bazaar isn't just telling one single story. It's really a tale of two entirely different realities depending on where you're looking. To truly grasp this tension, we have to look right across the Atlantic. In the US, we're seeing this fascinating contradiction. Demand is dull, right? Yet prices are actually rising. Why? Well, supply tightness is literally spilling over from China, and that's pushed FAS Houston prices up by $77, bringing them to $1,330 per metric ton. Meanwhile, over in Europe, they're facing the exact opposite reality. They also have weak demand, but they're being absolutely flooded with competitive import offers, which are just dragging their overall prices down. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing exactly how those European price drops are distributing across the different product tiers. This is on a DDP Northwest Europe basis, by the way. Low-grade EVA dropped by 20 euros to settle at 1,580 euros per metric ton. The medium grade, that actually took the hardest hit, falling 45 euros down to 1,690. And the high grade declined by 20 euros, bringing it to 2,965. So it's this clear across-the-board softening that stands in stark contrast to the tightness we're seeing over in the US. Section 3, China's supply dynamics, plant shutdowns and solar demand. As we look east, we can see a massive tug-of-war happening in the Chinese market right now. First off, significant plant shutdowns are creating some very real supply tightness. But the demand side, it's highly fractured. We're seeing incredibly strong demand isolated almost entirely to the photovoltaic or solar sector. They're essentially hoarding the material. But in surrounding industries, offtake is actually quite dull. So you have this incredibly tight supply perfectly balanced by this very narrow solar demand. The result? Spot prices are freezing dead in their tracks at 10,200 RMB per metric ton. Section 4. India's volatile market, the geopolitical ripple effect. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. If you're operating in the Indian bazaar right now, you know things are moving at lightning speed. And it all stems from a textbook chain reaction originating way outside the polymer industry itself. It starts at step 1. Geopolitical disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. That disruption causes step 2, sharp crude oil fluctuations, surging past $101 a barrel. Now, because crude is so unpredictable, step 3 kicks in. Overseas suppliers get nervous, and they just stop issuing fresh offers. That sudden lack of inbound supply leads directly to step 4, with spot prices in Delhi spiking sharply. It's literally macro geopolitics hitting local wallets in real time. You can track that volatility clear as day with the Delhi 18% grade imported EVA. When that crude spike hit, opening spot prices shot sharply higher, hitting somewhere between 165 and 170 rupees per kilo. Then, as crude eventually cooled off, prices eased back down to around 150 to 153 rupees. Right now, purchasers are understandably cautious. They're making strictly need-based purchases. But the sentiment? It's incredibly tense. Buyers actively suspect more price increases are right around the corner, and honestly, that could trigger a sudden buying frenzy very soon. Section 5, Market Tools and Predictions. The AI-powered chatbot. Look, navigating day-to-day swings like that is definitely not easy. So before we get to our final recommendation, you really should know that Polymer Bazaar has an incredible resource that puts market intelligence right in your pocket. You can get instant future trends and highly accurate AI predictions delivered straight to your phone in just 5 seconds.
Literally, all you have to do is open WhatsApp and send the word prediction to +91 93746 24365. It's a massive advantage in a market moving this fast, so definitely take a second to jot that number down.
Section 6, Final Purchase Recommendation. Act before retail prices rise. Okay, we've looked at the global data, we've seen the supply constraints. So what do you actually do about it? Let's move to and see how this builds into an undeniable conclusion. Step 1. We know for an absolute fact that feedstock costs across the Asian region are currently rising. Step 2. Because those base costs are up, overseas suppliers have literally no choice but to quote higher export offers moving forward, which absolutely guarantees step 3, retail prices in India are inevitably going to rise to absorb those costs. The math is already locked in, you guys. It's just a matter of when the market actually feels it.
Which brings us to the official Polymer Bazaar position, and I quote, "Therefore, we strongly suggest buying at current levels. This is definitely not the time to wait and see. The indicators are pointing strictly upward. Securing your material right now at current prices is hands down the single most effective way to protect your profit margins before those higher export offers hit the domestic retail market." To really dig into the granular numbers behind this recommendation, you've got to get your hands on the full data breakdown. You can download the complete PDF report right now by visiting polymerbazaar.com. And hey, if you want to discuss strategy, give the support team a call at +91 93754 24365. And of course, to make sure you never miss these critical market shifts, make sure you subscribe, like, and share this explainer with your industry colleagues.
I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. The dominoes have already started falling in the Asian feedstock market, and that pressure, it's heading straight for global retail prices. The data is crystal clear. So will you secure your EVS supply today while prices are still manageable, or will you risk your margins against the inevitable retail surge tomorrow? That's the question you have to answer this week. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay focused, stay ahead of the market, and I will see you in our next update.